3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome to another episode of Undecided. I am your host, Sonny.
My name's Ray.
My name's Ephraim.
And today we have a spectacular episode for you today. But first of all, I just want to see how you guys are doing. Ray, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty goddamn good.
What the fuck was that, nigga? All gotta do is just be like, oh yeah, I'm good at this shit. Anything new, anything special right now or not?
Dude, let me tell you.
Heartbreak on a full moon. What?
Beyond this house, beyond this damn fucking computer for the past legit like 16 hours, goddamn.
Oh, Ray's going through a heartbreak.
I ain't going through a heartbreak.
Cry me a river.
Heartbreak on a full moon.
How about you, Ephraim? Preach. Speak to me.
I'm preaching, man. I'm good. You know, it's just hot.
Hella depressing. This is Ephraim. This is Ephraim. I'm preaching. I'm good.
No, you don't sound like that. He's like,
I'm over here struggling.
I'm just
Hey,
no.
no. But for real, I'm good. I just got 2 new pairs of Air Forces. You know, we got to kick off the summer, right? It's hot.
It's really
It's
hot.
really hot.
Yeah, it is.
But other than that, I'm chilling. I'm good. I'm not over
good.
here on a heartbreak and a full moon, but
That's
I'm
good.
Yeah, who here is heartbroken, bro?
I don't
You,
know.
You
nigga.
heartbroken?
No, I'm not heartbroken.
I
I'm
ain't
happy.
heartbroken. I'm good.
He's all cried and shit. I'm good.
good. I'm good.
Nah, but let's get into it though. Let's break it down.
Break it down.
Parents whipping your ass, beating the fuck out of you, throwing you against the fucking wall, bashing your face against the fucking curb. Is
All
it
right,
okay?
all right.
Is it okay?
We're not
Hold
going
on.
that
Today's
far.
topic.
Beating your fucking ass.
Nah, today's topic. Discipline. When is too much? When is too much?
Yeah,
I would say when the kid starts bleeding.
That
Yeah.
that far?
Yeah. Well,
Really?
like, I mean,
That's a high threshold.
No. I mean, it depends on.
where you bleeding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely depends on where you bleed, but also like it depends on what the kid did and shit. Like, but I mean, let's just.
I don't know about
I
that.
mean, the elephant. There's not an elephant in the room, but let's just go over. We all were beaten by our parents when we were kids.
Yeah, I got my ass.
Okay.
So we definitely have our own.
I wouldn't say I was beaten. I was disciplined.
No, he's
I
like-
wasn't
he's
beaten.
like-
No.
Give us a good life.
No, there's a difference between being beaten and being disciplined.
Okay,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys can
Right.
You guys
yeah.
can
My
attest to
mom
that.
never beat me, but she disciplined me. Like she hit me.
My mom and my dad disciplined me very fucking hard.
Yeah, I wasn't disciplined. I was disciplined harshly.
Yeah, very hard.
Okay. No. But let's be real. There is a big difference between discipline and abuse
Yeah.
and beating somebody's ass.
I know that because I remember, like, quick little story. I remember when I was a kid, I was taken out of class,
Yeah.
and I was taken to like this little like room, whatever, like not the principal's office, but this little office in the back side of the school, whatever. And there was like these 2 like white people talking to me and stuff. And they had briefcases and shit, and they started like asking me all these questions about my mom and stuff. Like,
Yeah, social workers.
but I didn't know that at the time. I was like, I think like in 3rd grade, I had no
Yeah.
idea. And they're like, does your mom hit you? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
And then my mom got so pissed.
Your
and
mom's
shit.
gonna watch this, be like, Brandon.
I know, but the thing is, it's like if they would have asked me, like, because towards the end of it, I kind of understood what was going on. But I knew even back then, if they asked me if my mom beat me, I would have said no.
Yeah.
But like, if they asked me, does my mom hit me? I would have said yeah. And I'm just only bringing that up because there is a difference. Like,
Yeah.
if your parents beating the fuck out of you, it's different than your parents disciplining you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's go personal, right? We're talking our experiences. So our experiences, discipline. What was discipline for you from your parents to you? Like, how did they discipline you?
Yeah, when I was a young kid, dude, I talked a lot. Like I was like a little Arnold.
Arnold
Yeah.
hardly talks.
No, Arnold talks a lot. What do you
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
When
he
he was a
talks
kid,
a
lot.
he talked a shitload. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Arnold
Not
makes
me.
noises sometimes too. Just
For real,
I guess
it's
he
just
does
like-
talk a lot. I don't know. Yeah,
No,
he does talk a lot.
He
you know.
does talk a lot. but-
Arnold's his little brother, by the way.
Yeah, Arnold's my little brother. But what's it called? I used to talk a lot when I was a kid, and then I guess everybody got sick of me. So my parents. I remember this one time I was at church. Right, my parents forced me to go to church. They literally. This is a bad way to like persuade somebody to go to church, because if I didn't go to church, they would literally whip me if I didn't go to church.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like, especially out here in Utah, it's in the Latin community. I know in the white community, probably not in the white community. Latin community, if you don't go to church, I mean, for me, I got whipped. But anyways, so I went to church, right? I was the word reverent came a lot to my mind. 'Cause I was so irreverent. Irreverent. But I was like, I don't know what I did, but I guess I was acting up really bad. My mom took me out, right? She took me to an empty classroom. Started whipping my ass.
In the church and
In
shit.
the
Doesn't even wait to get
fucking
home
church.
and shit.
No, she beat my ass like that. And I'm like, I don't know if I probably did deserve it because I knew me as a kid. I was very obnoxious. I was very loud. So I mean, in a way, I'm like, it wasn't a bad thing, but kind of like a learning experience for me, not to be as obnoxious as I was. But that's one of my tales.
No, I feel you. My mom used to whip me. Like, obviously, since I'm the youngest and shit, my sisters always say that I didn't get whipped as much as they did and shit. But I never saw them got whooped. I mean, I have 3 older sisters. The only one that I ever saw got whooped was the one that's right above me, Leanne. She's the only one I ever saw got whooped. I believe that the other 2 got whooped for sure. No, I also saw Lloydie, my oldest sister, get whooped too. But my middle sister, Lindsay, I've never seen her get whooped. Not because she's an ass kisser, but just because she plays shit smart. Yeah. But anyway. But like the way that Haitians like whoop kids, it's like super like psychological. So like, I mean, like, yeah, if you're like acting up and shit, you might get like a smack to the back of the head or whatever. But like it's really like if you're like talking and stuff, like my mom, like if we were like talking shit or talking back, my mom would always like grab her lips and like twist them and shit. Oh, shit. Yeah, she'll still do that now. She gets mad enough, she'll like grab your lips, she'll twist them and shit.
Grown ass man, she grabs your lips.
Oh yeah, she'll do that shit. Or like even McKinley's dad used to do that shit too. Like just grab our lips and like twist them and shit. But like the most common way with a lot of like Creole families is what happens is if you get caught doing something or if you do something like that's punishable, it really depends like who you did it to and like the severity of it. So for example, when I got in trouble for stealing $1 from my sister, because at the time I had a really bad habit stealing because I got caught stealing a candy bar from like Albertsons and shit. And I was banned for 2 years.
Back then.
Yeah, I was a kid and like I was stealing shit. I just had a phase, you know, and I stole $1 from my sister, but I denied it. And I lied to my mom. My mom asked me, she's like, did you steal from your sister? And I said, no, I lied to her face. And then my sister's like, okay, well, if you didn't steal from me, then prove it to me. Because I also at that time told her that I already had $1. And so she's like, all right, show me your $1 then. And so I showed her the $1 and she's like, aha, and then had her name on it. So I got caught. So what really pissed my mom off is not only that I stole, but I also lied to her face. Yeah. So what my mom did was, for my punishment, not only was I going to get my ass beaten, but my sister was going to choose the belt that I got beaten with. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a little like kind of like psychological too. And then what also like, and this happens just in general. What happens is your parents will either give you a choice where you can either have your hand out, you put your hand out and you make eye contact with them and they hit you 10 times in the hand while they're just sitting there yelling at you. But you have to keep eye contact with them the entire time. If you break eye contact, then you have to restart and you can't say anything. You can cry and you can like moan or whatever, but you can't break eye contact and you can't move your hand away. Yeah. You have to sit there and stare at them while they, you know, beat your ass. And then the other way is if you don't want to do that, then they just fucking wail on your body for how long, you know. With the hand, you know, it's only going to be 10 thrashes. With the body, it can go on as long as they want to keep going. But the whole thing about that is the whole point is it's respectful. Like if you do the hand, it's respectful. It means that you acknowledge what you did was wrong and you're willing to pay the price for it. You know, with the hands, with the eye contact and shit like that. I never did the hand. I never did the hand. Never. My sisters would always do the hand. I never did the hand. I'd rather just take it on the body and shit. Right. I never did the hand. Like, cause to me, like just being stubborn and just being macho and being a guy and shit, like I'm not gonna do that shit. I'll just fucking take it on the body and shit. But then after you know, you get your whooping and shit, you then have to go to a corner and then you have to go to like a hardwood floor and go on your knees and sit with your back straight up. You can't bend your knees or anything. You have to sit straight up on your knees. Does that make sense? Yeah. While looking at a corner, and you have to be there for an hour or an hour and a half, depending on what you did. And if you really, really fucked up, like what my sister did a long time ago, you have to go to the gravel and do that shit. In the hot sun. Yeah.
So this is going to be surprising to a lot of people. Let's be real, the white community. This is gonna be
white folks.
This is gonna be surprising
all
to
the
you.
Karens and Susans like, oh my
God. They're like, we should call child services even though he's an adult. No, but here's the thing. our communities were brought up in a different way. Like, let's be real. Like, our parents didn't have the same kind of structure that we do now.
Yeah.
And their parents definitely didn't have the same structure, you know?
No.
And and that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I didn't ever get beat like that, because to me, that's being beat. To me, no, that's the definition of being beat. My dad, if I acted out of line, yeah, he would get the belt, smack me on the ass, get his hand, smack me or something like that, you know? He would even pull my ear, probably why I have big ass ears, you know?
Big ass ears.
But so to me, that what you're explaining, to me, that's a beating. What my dad did to me when I acted out of line, he put me back in line, I feel like that's discipline for me. So obviously 2 different communities see discipline in 2 different ways, and that for me would be technically abuse.
Well, I mean, I think you would have to, but that's kind of the trick to it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you choose what you want. Yeah. You know, you have the option to either take 10 thrashings to the hand, or you have the choice to, you know, get wailed on. But it's not they're going to wail on you for like an hour. But it's like
what you said in the beginning. It becomes abuse when you start bleeding. What if you got wailed on too much that you started bleeding? That you got cut?
Easily would have stopped.
What if you got 10 lashings to the hand and you started bleeding within those 10 lashes? Wouldn't that become abuse? So that's like a very thin, fine line of what abuse is and what is not.
But I would also say, also at the same time, like, obviously my mom would stop if she saw blood. You know what I'm saying? And they're not hitting you to the point where they're trying to draw blood. It's just to the point where, like, you understand what's going on. And when you get wailed on, you're only getting wailed on for like 10 minutes, like not even 10 minutes. It feels like 10 minutes, but probably
it feels like forever.
It feels like forever, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been like you getting beat with the belt and shit. Like,
the belt's character.
Well, it's just like you get beat with the belt. Like, you know, like it happens. Like, it's like for like a minute or two, but it feels like forever. That's
for
all
me,
it is.
my dad had a strong hand, so that's probably why I didn't get wailed on. Obviously, you know, we like obviously like not to kind of go off topic, but you know, for me growing up my whole life, my dad was there the whole life. You know, I don't know about you guys. But for me, my dad was there the whole time, so I have both parental figures.
Damn well.
but this is a point.
Damn well, our dad was in our lives.
No. But this is what I'm getting at. Sometimes when there isn't both parental figures, the mother has to overcompensate for that missing male figure. That's why I feel like sometimes the women in our culture, they go to certain extents because the male figure isn't there giving the male model. For example, you had 2 choices. 1, show the respectful way, or 2, act like a man, be macho, man up, and take that beating.
I mean, but the same thing, like, same with my uncles and shit, you know? It was the same, you know, like, the way that me and my cousins and my sisters and shit, like, the beatings that I got were the same beatings that they got. You know, that you still had the choice at the end of the day. No matter what, you still had to go on your knees. Like, it's still the same. Like, I don't think it really mattered if it was guy or girl, but I get what you're saying. But, like, the same whipping that I got from my mom was the same whipping that my sisters got from my mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's just for me personally, like, I know, like, growing up, my mom said, like, you can't tell people that I beat your ass and shit. But, like, I also knew, like, my mom wasn't, like, I knew, like, when I got a whipping, like, it was something that I deserved. You know what I'm saying? Or when my sister fucked me over, but my mom just didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think another part of abuse, you know, goes into line where it's like you don't know why you're being hit or you don't know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think what also goes into abuse is, like, if you, like, come home and then your dad starts beating the fuck out of you and you have no idea why. I think that would constitute for abuse rather than me sneaking out and I'm coming home and mom's waiting for me in the living room. She has a belt in my hand and I know why she has a belt in her hand. You know what I'm saying? I think at any point if there was blood being drawn or if she could see that I'm in serious pain other than, like, being wailed on, like, obviously she would stop. And after every time you always have a conversation too, like, why did you do it? You know, this is what happened to you. I think it's just, like, older folks from foreign countries like, the beatings that my mom gave me, I'm sure were a lot lighter than what her mom gave her.
Oh, that's for sure. My grandma Sita, bro, she was the devil, like, legitimately. Like, my mom, dude, she was like, she was abusive. Now, like, she gave whippings to me, and she was an old lady. Like, dude, I remember this one time I was, like, at a DI, and I wanted to, like, we were right by a store, but right next to DI, right? I was asking my mom, hey, can I go over to DI to go play with the toys? You know, because they have, like, a toy section and want to go play.
Oh yeah.
So I asked my mom, hey, can I go over there and play with the toys? And my grandma Sita was right next to me. And it was me, my little sister, my mom, and my grandma Sita. And she's like, yeah, you can go. So I decided we all went out. Me, my sister, and grandma Sita, right? So we all went out. They were going towards the car. I was heading towards the attic because I wanted to go play with the toys. And she's like, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go play with the toys." She's like, "No, you come over here right now." I'm like, "No, but my mom said you can." She's like, "You better get over here." And I'm like, "No, my mom said I can go." So I started like walking away. She's like trying to chase after me, but she's an old lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she she looks at me, and she walks away. And she goes to the car. And I had this like Toyota car, right? So it's a minivan.
Yeah.
So you have to open it, slide it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I got scared. I'm like, no, I don't want to be in trouble. I have to go back. So decided to go back. I see my grandma's seat on the passenger side. And I'm like, okay, she's asleep. She's an old lady. She sleeps. So I open the door quietly. And then all of a sudden, when I open the door, she looks behind me. And you know when when she realizes, they like get up
Yeah.
and they go super fast. So I'm like, oh shit. So I go inside. I lock the door. And I'm like, I was like sitting back, just like praying that she's not gonna like somehow open the door because I locked it, right?
This is before Ray stopped believing in God.
It's a small Ray, not buff Ray.
Yeah,
Imagine Ray's a kid but buff.
No. So after that, I'm like, she's like telling my little sister, because my little sister's like, "Oh, mijita, come open the door." I'm like, I just want to say hi and shit, right? My sister was just as scared of her that I was. So my sister opened the door. I'm like, oh shit. And then the first thing she did is punch me in the stomach.
Oh,
and
my
like
God.
my air came out, and then she punched me in the face.
Okay,
And
that's
she
abusive.
was abusive.
That's abuse.
Yeah, no,
And,
she was
and
abusive.
I think
Yeah.
that while you were saying that, what I kind of realized too is like for how much my mom beat me, I was never terrified of my mom. You know, like my mom never scared me. My uncles never scared me. Like, you know, the people like all like the adults in my life, like the family members that beat me, I was never scared of them.
No, yeah.
But like you were scared
of
of
my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Like-
Because like I feel like because my grandma never liked my father,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like because I look like my dad, and so I feel like she never liked me growing up.
Like
She-
vicariously, her hatred for your dad went on to you.
went on to me. But the thing is, like how you were saying with the way I was growing up, I mean, I got whipped. The way I got whipped is by getting lashings on my back from my mom or my dad.
Some slave shit.
No, it's just like with
Yeah,
the
boy.
belt, or with the belt, you know.
Shit.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I mean, she never, like it said, it's not something that I knew. I know what I did, and she whipped me because I deserved it. And she always did it out of love, because, you know, I mean, she's not gonna whip me for like out of hatred, you know. And it's something that in my sense, it kind of builds character in a way, because again, it just kind of hardens you. I'm like, oh, you know your mistake. So
There's consequences.
yeah, there's consequences. So
So there's actually this study I was reading along like the lines of why certain generations were the certain way they were. Obviously nowadays we have more knowledge of how like a child development is. We know how the mind works. We know like what things can be doing. Obviously nobody's a perfect parent, obviously. But one of the things that said abusive adults may share some general characteristics is a lack of knowledge of understanding a child's development needs. That's kind of like when we go back to like older generations from foreign countries. If you think about it, they were raised a certain way. They were raised that beating a kid, hitting him, lashing him, getting like beat to shit is completely fine. They think that's a child's development. But in reality, now we know that like certain beatings, certain like experiences in life will trickle down in that kid's life. It'll cause depression, anxiety. It'll cause mood swings. It'll cause anger.
Yeah,
Not like
absolutely.
necessarily like you did something wrong, but anger pent up from like them getting beat.
yeah,
Obviously, all three of us, we realized that like if we did something wrong, we were gonna get beat, but we were never afraid of our parents. But sometimes us just not being afraid, there's still a line where it can be considered abuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, like, yeah, don't beat the fuck out of your kid. But like, there's kids growing up, you know, especially going to Tinfew, bro.
Oh
like,
yeah,
preppy ass cool.
some
like,
kids needed their ass.
yeah,
beat.
like
some
there were some
kids-
kids I would come across some preppy ass white kids and shit, and I'd be like,
yeah.
or even some preppy ass Mexicans, and I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But like those preppy ass kids and shit, I'd be like, yeah, you definitely didn't get your ass beat.
Yeah,
Like,
you were spoiled as a kid.
yeah.
Have you ever had that one friend, like, what's it called, that you brought over, right? It's always a white kid. It's always a white kid.
Always.
So you come over, right? Your mom hits you. She's like, bro,
Yeah.
dude, you can't let her do that to you, bro. you can't. You have to call the police. You're your own man.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Like,
bro.
no,
always
bro.
that one friend.
I am not my own man.
It's
Not
just
yet.
like there's just some. I think there's. I don't think like with now that we have more knowledge and stuff, and also like to correlate like a lot of countries that kind of like not like glorify hitting your kids, but like it's embedded in their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not really like, you know, they're not really like the best countries.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like in a rude way, but like like I would rather have my kid grow up in the United States than in Haiti, for example. You know what I mean? Like, so like I kind of see that, you know, like the quality of life and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But also I do like I don't believe it's wrong to every once in a while to like probably like smack your kid upside the head or something.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? Or just like a little physical consequence every once in a while. Maybe like a kick to the butt or something. Like, hey, like knock it off. Like stop doing what you're doing. You
like
know
a
what
paddle, like how they did in the old days when.
Well, maybe not even no, that's an object.
That's an object because the paddle leaves a huge mark. A hand. Maybe it won't. It depends how hard. Like if your kid's acting out of line, you're like, hey, stop that.
Yeah, or maybe
sometimes
like
they need a little reminder.
Like what Tony does to AJ, kind of just goes, hey, what's the matter with you? He goes, so like a little backhand like flick to the face.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like I think little things like that kind of do matter because in a way it's like sometimes in life you have immediate responses that are negative to the choices that you make, and I feel like a little like a physical reaction is psychologically, subconsciously one of those things. Like you do something and then you immediately after is going to be a consequence for that. And I feel like in a weird psychological way that kind of happens. And I know like beating your kids isn't ideal, but again, I would argue there's going to be some cases where I think it's probably best you probably smack your kid upside the head.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, like if we're going back to like elementary, middle school, and high school, I definitely saw a lot of like white kids talk back to their mom, be like, fuck you, mom.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That irritated the shit out of me.
I remember sometimes I was like disrespectful to my mom. It would not end well. Not end well. And not that she would beat the shit out of me, but I know I was going to get disciplined. Like I knew I was going to get disciplined because of my actions.
Yeah.
So like when you're a kid growing up and you know if you do something wrong because it's out of line and you know there's going to be consequences, I feel like that's fine. Like that's discipline. Yeah. Like you do something, it's just like at work. If you do something wrong at work, there's going to be a consequence. So why can I not be the same for kids? Like if a kid does something wrong and they know it's wrong, they know there's going to be a consequence. They're going to be disciplined. I'm not saying beat the shit out of your kid because don't do that. Because that's going to, no, don't do that. But like, I don't know. I guess there's just a fine line of like what really is abuse and what really is discipline.
Yeah. So what would you consider like the fine line?
I can't say one because we're not parents. None of us are. Yeah. You know, we can say we're dog parents, but that's not the same thing. No. That's not the same thing whatsoever. To have a kid, you have to live through it. You have to experience it. Obviously, we have nieces and nephews. You know, we have a bunch.
I know I'm gonna hit my kids.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hit my kids too.
Yeah. Like you're buying a car. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it.
I think I'm gonna do
that. For me, I don't know. I feel like with the things I've learned from my parents because. My mom, even though like her parents are from like Peru, they never grew up hitting their kids. Like they knew how to discipline them, you know, without hitting.
Well, it depends
on my dad's side in Ecuador, his family comes down from a line not of like technically abuse, but of like hard discipline because his grandpa or great grandpa or something like that was like a sergeant or general in the army, something like that, you know, and you know those fuckers are strict as fuck.
Yeah.
So from what my grandpa would tell me and my aunts in Ecuador would tell me, he was very abusive. Like if you think about it now, he was abusive. That trickled down to his son which is like my dad's like dad. And my dad would say, yeah, like he would like smack us, hit us with the belt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then my dad learned from that and he learned how to use his words. And also when it came to like me not listening to his words, he would discipline me.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably other ways to discipline your kid physically rather than hitting them like manual labor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they fuck up, all right, now you got to go do this or whatever. Yeah. But, I mean, again, I don't think there's anything, as long as it's just like within a boundary, I don't think there's anything wrong with hitting your kid.
Yeah. I mean, again, discipline is like, I mean, there is a line from discipline to abuse, but I mean, people can take discipline in different ways. Like you said, you take discipline in more of a less harmful way. I feel like discipline on my end, the way I was disciplined was more in my upbringing a lot better because it turned me out to be like more. I wouldn't say more of a hard person in a way.
Yeah.
Like I said, kind of brought out a character in me, and I feel like that's kind of like the way I want to perceive it as my like how I raise my children.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as well as like, I'm not gonna go to the extent that they went to. You know, I'm just gonna go a little bit easier because again, I'm gonna talk to my kids as well. But if they doing something wrong, then I'm gonna discipline them, and then tell them like what they did was wrong. You know.
Yeah. And I also think the type of discipline also matters as well with the kind of kid. I know for a fact, like for me growing up, like if my mom would have grounded me or put me in timeout, that shit wouldn't fucking work with me. That wouldn't fucking work with me at all. I hate seeing parents do that to their kids, like, oh, you're in timeout or you're grounded. I know for a fact if like my mom grounded me or put me in timeout, even at the age that I would have been like, what's keeping me in my room? Like, what's keeping me in this corner? You know, other than now. I don't know what you're saying though. The corner, you know, on the knees and shit. Well, that's because I got an ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I remember one time I asked my mom, I was like, how come you never ground me and stuff? She's like, what's grounding? Because she didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean that's a foreign concept to like our parents.
Yeah, they don't know what
parents,
grounding is.
They don't know what that is.
That's like
they
a
just know,
white suburban, you know, United States thing. My mom's like, what's grounding? I told her what grounding is, and she's like, well, I don't know, but I do. She's like, I don't know, but what I do know is. I don't know what's going to keep you from staying in your room if I grounded you, but I know there's nothing going to keep me from whipping your ass if you act up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing too. Like I want my kid to be independent. I want my kid to challenge. I want my kid to be fierce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want my kid, for how all these going to sound, I want my kid to be the kind of kid that if I were to ground him, I would want him to ask me, well, like what's keeping me from doing it? You know, like what there's this magical wall, like, you know what I'm saying, like what's keeping me from. And
if you think about it, grounding, you're putting them in their room where they have all their shit that they can just distract themselves from.
Well, usually when they're grounded, like there's no computer, no TV.
But let's be realistic. How realistic is that though? Like let's think about our friends growing up, like the privileged kids that would like get grounded. It's not like
I mean, would probably say it's 50-50. Like for all enough, I do know like a lot of like privileged like white kids who like when they're like when they were grounded or whatever, like they were seriously grounded. Like they weren't allowed to do shit.
Yeah.
like they were
what's called. I know somebody that grounds their children, and they make sure they stay in a corner or the room. They don't put any. They take away all their devices. Make sure they can't go anywhere. And for example, like my little brother Arnold. We shipped him out to Brent's house.
Boot camp.
Yeah, boot camp. He was legitimately there for a month. He was, picking up dog shit. He was working out, just concentrating on his studies as he should. Yeah. But he had no contact to friends. It all depends on how you go about it.
If my kid does act out of line in the future, don't get me wrong. Like my dad showed me that sometimes you do have to use like a belt. You have to use your hand. I completely agree. Like sometimes your kid do need that, but to resource to that every single time, I feel like you can go through other steps before getting physical with your kid.
Yeah, and you always have to talk to your kid too. I mean, Elizabeth even told me a statistic saying that it's better for you to talk to your kid as a person because that just helps you develop as they grow. Mm-hmm. So that's something I plan on doing to my children. I want them to be very intelligent. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing to my kids when they're older. I mean, again, it's always good to converse with your kids. I mean, my mom always like when I was growing up, she would always like I know what I did wrong, but she like talk to me about it. She just whipped my ass and then just left me in the corner. I'm like, that one breath, you're like. But after that, she always told me to come out, and then talk to me after, and she wouldn't talk to me after. We had to like kind of forget about it.
No, I know exactly what you mean because I remember, and this was a huge way. Like I knew my mom did it out of love, and she still cared about me. Yeah. Because like after I would get my ass whipped, my mom would always come up with a plate of food.
Yeah, always a plate of food.
Always. You hungry?
Yeah.
I am hungry. And like that, I said that's like some real nigga shit, bro.
Yeah, it's like you did wrong. Now you learned your lesson.
But you're still my kid. I still love you. Exactly. Yeah, type shit. But what I want to know is what people think. So if you have been beaten or abused or disciplined by your parents, put in the comments. Put a little story if you want to.
They'll read every single one of them.
We should also do a poll. We should do a poll and see what people think, if they think it's okay or not.
You think our stories were too on the too abusive to the abusive side, or too not abusive side? Yeah. Well, or where it meets,
Yeah. I mean, if we talk about abuse, we can talk about abuse for days. Yeah. I mean, we should do a poll. But abuse is, I don't know, man. I really started taking a look into this a lot because of the Gabriel Fernandez.
Oh
thing
yeah,
that
I was
came
gonna,
out.
I was,
Yeah.
I was
That's
gonna talk
abuse.
about
That
abuse.
that's monstrosity. That's an abomination.
Yeah.
What that mom and that guy did to that kid, they deserve. The guy
It was
is getting the
beyond
death
abuse.
penalty.
Yeah.
The mom should get the death penalty too.
No,
And
she should.
I am fucking standing behind that. Like
Yeah.
I don't care if people are like, oh, you can freaking no, fuck that.
No.
What you did to that little 8-year-old, you know,
They found him in the
no,
cabinet.
You
didn't they?
want to know something that's so disgusting? And I was actually looking at this, like looking up stuff today. When the guy that did the autopsy was trying to examine the body, he said that his bones felt like Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
Imagine how fucked up you have to be
like so
as a
malnourished.
grown ass man that's almost 300 fucking pounds
Yeah.
to beat a little kid senseless into his death. Not just that, bro, but they found like 8 BBs in his face. He shot him in the face with BBs, beat him to shit, and they even made him like eat cat and dog feces.
Yeah.
That's
Didn't they
crazy.
find his body like he was like zip tied in like
Yeah.
a kitchen cabinet?
Something like that.
Yeah, like some fucked up shit.
That's some, and then the shit that they made him go through. Like I didn't see the what's called the documentary,
Yeah.
but just I heard shit.
I-
that he
I think
done.
the saddest thing about it too is that he still loved his mom.
Yeah.
That's
Another
fucking crazy.
another sad thing that a lot of people actually don't know about until like all this like stuff started going on is that he actually wrote suicide letters to his mom. Imagine that, a little 7-8-year-old boy
That's so sad.
writing suicide letters to his mom saying, "Mom, I'm going to kill myself." Like, just to think that a little 7-8-year-old can like, think about that,
Yeah,
it's crazy to me, man.
yeah.
But
Oh my god, makes me want to pass out.
yeah, it's
Holy
disgusting.
shit,
But
that's so sad.
before we end, I just want to throw out some statistics of abuse. We can put this in or not. I don't care. But pretty much this is like all Utah based when it comes to abuse. So every year, approximately 80 children witness the murder or attempted murder of their mother in like 1 year
Damn.
from abuse. And then ever since 2000, at least 42% of adult homicides in Utah were domestic violence related. And then between the year of 2010 and 2013, 88% of domestic violence homicide perpetrators were males. A firearm was the weapon in 59 of the cases. 39% of the perpetrators had criminal domestic violence history. 22% of these murderers were previously ordered for treatment by court. 22% of the cases, children were either involved or witnessed the homicide, and 34% of the perpetrators died by suicide after the homicide.
Damn.
So the niggas who killed them died. Like they
Killed themselves, yeah.
That's whole fucked up shit.
Yeah,
It's fucked up.
it's pretty.
The drugs, the alcohol, the anger, the past. I
Yeah,
mean, that's kind of the
right.
whole thing about the discipline thing of what you're getting to. It's
Yeah.
like a lot of the people that abuse people themselves were abused when they were kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I get what you're saying. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you are being abused, reach out to somebody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Undecided. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am your loyal and faithful host, Sunny.
My name is Ray.
My name's Ephraim.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Hit that notification icon.
Bell, that notification bell.
And remember to take the poll. If you don't agree with this shit, let us know in the comments.
All right, peace.
Peace.